Hey guys, Matty Miller, Pursuit Real Estate. Hope you guys are doing well, and we're going to talk about everybody's favorite topic and do a market update as we are nearing the end of quarter two with our analytics. We're kind of going to go through and see what to expect for the rest of the summertime. All right, guys, so we are pretty much through the end of May. We're now into June. We have seen the trends and analytics kind of come back, and I just want to go through some things so sellers and buyers kind of know what to expect heading into the summertime, which generally is one of the busiest times of the year for us and for buyers and sellers. However, in this particular market, we probably haven't seen that, and you probably haven't felt that if you are a seller or even another agent in the market. So going to go through a few things and just kind of give you guys what's going on. And I say this with a grain of salt because if things are moving down and you're a seller, you're probably not super thrilled. If things are moving down and you're a buyer, you're probably happy. So regardless of what the market is doing, someone is always going to be benefiting from what happens in the marketplace. It may not be for your advantage, but it might be for someone else's advantage. And that's one thing that when people talk, oh, the market's not very good. Well, if you're a 29-year-old first-time home buyer, things are becoming more affordable for you and you're able to actually get a home. That's a good thing for you. So we want to look at positives and negatives, of course, and just talk about what's happening because as a seller, you have to be versed in where to price your property and you need to know how long it's going to take and you need to be realistic about your sales price. And as a buyer, you need to know where you can negotiate and what you can get for, your money. So that's where we're going. So a few things, median sales price, everybody wants to start off there. And again, we're down about 7.7% same week last year, which is about $30,000 on the average sale. So 7%, you can obviously see this kind of hit low. This was actually higher a little while. We kind of looks like we maybe even hit our peak of median sales price in December of last year in the last 12 months, which is a little bit strange. But again, these are kind of weekly numbers, so they do fluctuate quite a bit. But overall, we are starting to see the median sales price curtail. I don't think we'll see it in that 380 range, at least anytime soon. And I don't think we've seen it above 380 all year long. So we are seeing it more in that 350s. We've even seen it down in the 340s a couple times in that ballpark. So we are seeing that curtail off. So sales price is getting cheaper. That is a factual statement at this point. The biggest one that I always look to is closed sales, just surely the amount of deals that we're closing. And you can see right here, we're down almost 24%. So we're closing a lot less deals in our market than we were previously. Last year, and even at one point in time, I think we almost closed 1,000 deals even last year in 1 week, which is a ton. And our highest week in 2025 has been 686. So we have not come close to peaking at the amount of deals that we were closing. So what's happening if we're not closing that many deals is we are seeing our active inventory continue to grow and grow and grow and grow, which means as a seller, you have more competition, which means as a buyer, you have more options. So like I said, if you're a seller, probably not great. If you're a buyer, could be pretty good. Active inventory is up 22% from last year. And last year was even not bad. We had 10,000 listings in our area last year. Now we're up to about 12 and a half. So that's a pretty substantial increase as well. We are also looking at median days on market, which is continuing to kind of fluctuate, but also climbing. This is that December, January, which typically are the longest days to sell your home during that holiday season. But this was actually the highest since then. This past week was at 49 days on the market, which if you want to compare apples to oranges or apples to apples in this case, 61% above increase over last year. So pretty substantial increase on days on market. So it might take a little while longer to sell your home. And the last thing we want to touch base on is new pending sales versus new listings. So new pending sales. This to me is probably the most important statistic of everything for sellers especially is how many properties each week are going under contract. Okay. And we have seen so far our peak in 2025 was in March. You'll see that we had 646 properties go under contract. That's pretty good. However, since then we have seen it slowly decrease all the way down to about 381, not about exactly 381 deals this last week in the month of May, which is counterintuitive to what we've seen over the last last few years, to where May is typically heading towards our peak, and June and July are also that peak. So those 3 months. So I'm very curious to see what happens over the next little bit. It does feel this week, honestly, and last week we've had a little bit more activity on some of the listings that we have here in the office at Pursuit Real Estate. So I am a little bit excited to see what happens over the next few weeks. I do anticipate a little more of a jump in activity, but as you can see, market is starting to slow down, which is, again, I've kind of been saying this, I feel like for a little while, that we're going to start seeing some more deals to be had. Things are becoming a little bit more affordable, which in the long run is probably good for the sustainability of our housing market, at least in my opinion. And again, if you have a home that you bought in 2022, for example, probably not liking to hear these comments. That is, unfortunately, the nature of the game. So if you guys have any questions about it, we can break these down per neighborhood, per county, per zip code. So you can kind of see the activity and the trends each way you go. So we can break those down. So if you guys have any questions about a specific, let's say St. Johns County, for example, versus Duval County, Clay County, whatever that situation may be, or even a zip code inside that county, we can break these down to give you an idea of what we expect to see here in the coming future. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. It's Matty Miller with Pursuit Real Estate. Guys, have a good one.